Hello, everybody, and welcome again to episode 8, season 2 of our podcast and our Inspirational Business Leader Award. I'm going to welcome Vic Shearer to the show today. Vic Shearer is the owner of the Construction Logistics Academy, C.L.A, as well as Prisma Logic, and we'll be talking a little bit more about that in a bit. But first of all, if I can just introduce yourself, welcome Vic Shearer.
Hey, how you doing, Tony? Nice to see you again. Thank you.
Yeah, nice to see you. Really good to talk to you. And it's fair enough
Been a
to
while.
say, yeah, and it's fair enough to say in the warm-up we've had a real hoot over the last couple of minutes. Hopefully, we'll have some more fun in a bit, and it won't sound like canned laughter. Anyway, I think the first thing to ask you to talk to our audience about and explain more is your businesses that you're involved in now, Construction Logistics Academy and Prisma Logic. Tell us more about them.
Okay, so Construction Logistics Academy is something that I set up with my brother, and we do safety training. And what I did was during my little holiday, I decided to write some books on construction logistics. Then I created these, I wrote them, published them. Then I got some courses that I created as a result, because I noticed that there wasn't any training specifically for people in construction logistics. So I wrote the books, wrote the courses, and then got them accredited. And I'm just waiting for CITB to get me the accreditation on those. And so we've already done a few clients as it is, and the course has been going well, so that's good. We're also doing things like first aid training, face fit testing, all the basic safety courses as well. So that's on the Construction Logistics Academy. Prisma Logic is, on the other hand, is a software development company. I've always had a real passion for software and innovation. And so we've been developing some software, and we've got one product coming out today, which is a delivery management system. So we're trying to have a different approach to this and make it affordable for companies to have this sort of system. So you can manage your deliveries, your greenhouse gas emissions, do your reporting, and make it affordable for companies. So that's the first one we've got coming out. We also got this other product due to come out shortly, which is it's all about employing people and giving people opportunities to upload their CVs, their training, their experience online, and to identify that they're available, and then for companies to be able to see who's available in their local area and to be able to get employment locally. Because I think we're going to have a real shortage of people soon, even though there's going to be a lot of unemployment. It's not necessarily going to be the right training set for the right people in the construction sector, because I think that's a real problem.
Yeah, I think you bang on. Being, with 23 years in experience in the employment of people in our industry, it's very sticky at the moment, the market. There's still strong demand for shiny, high skill individuals with just the right CVs in just the right verticals. If there are individuals with healthcare experience or data center experience, or even still central London refurbishment experience, the market's still strong. However, if we're looking at the fit out market, 8,000 to 20,000 square foot, if that's been the bulk of your experience in the last 10, 20 years, then you're going to struggle. We've also found the residential development market to be, sort of reasonably flat. So it's definitely sticky. Certain areas of the country have been strong. Certain areas of the country have been significantly less strong. So it's not, I agree with you. Skill shortages in the right geographical area with the right type of experience.
That's exactly right. And that's the way I saw it. It was also, if you've got people in other industries that could move across to our industry, in the construction industry, that would be great, because there are skills that people could use in both sets. I mean, a first aider is a first aider, for example. Somebody in the airline industry with this very high unemployment, they used to customer service. And one of the things that we're doing now is doing FaceFit, teaching people who are in the airline industry to become FaceFit testers. So because of their experience in being able to deal with members of the public, they've got a good customer facing skill set, and that can be moved across, and we can fill our industry with people from other sectors, I think.
Transition that skill set. We were talking about transitioning of skill sets. Let's start from the beginning. So in terms of your FaceFit testing, we're talking about FP3 masks, yeah?
Yep.
Correctly applied to users, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us more about what you've been doing recently.
Oh, more, what I've been, well...
Talking about crossing sectors.
Yeah, well, you mean from why did I get into FaceFit testing, and why from being a CEO of a business to doing FaceFit testing? I
think FaceFit testing, although it's a lucrative new industry, reasonably, but secondly, transitioning from construction to dentistry.
Oh yeah, so that was a bit strange, isn't it? We were talking about that earlier, and I got this really bizarre call. Because I'm on the FaceFit, the Fit to Fit accredited register, I got a call from a dentist today saying, I need to be FaceFit tested urgently for a new job. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be in the office, come along and I'll do something. I did a bit of research and I found out what it is that they're doing and why they need it, and infection control and hygiene and things like that. So I had to do FaceFit testing today. So I learned all about the dentistry and medical industry today. It was, and she said she was going to send out my details to loads of different people and put it on Facebook and everywhere for me. It's such a new market. It was just so interesting to speak to her.
Yeah.
And so we spoke for about 2 hours.
And you would have, and again, it's one of those things that you would automatically assume, well, look, it's fitting a mask, yeah, it can't be that difficult.
Yeah.
But
I know.
But the liability, if you get it wrong, it's big, isn't it?
You know, the funny thing is that I went and I did the course. So I learned how to be a FaceFit tester. Then I thought I'd elevate myself to go and have the full assessment. So I passed the technical exam and then I failed the practical.
No. You failed the practical.
Oh, dear. So, it was
really funny. You had it as a bun on your head? Or?
Gosh,
how'd you
I learned so much. I learned so much. So I failed that first practical. Then I had to wait months because of coronavirus. And so I had to go through the thing again. And then I went to get accredited, and I got through second time round. I learned so much. It's just phenomenal. And the FaceFit testing is, I think it's so essential. And one of the presentations that I do now, because of having studied it in detail, it's so funny to see the size of the particles that go through into your lungs and cause damage, and the amount of people that are affected in our industry by it. I just thought that was terrible. My father died of emphysema, and it was terrible to see. And I thought, it's so important to be able to tell these people that are not wearing the mask to go and wear the mask, why it is. So now I enhanced the course so that I could help people understand the reasoning behind it. It's critical. 5,000 people die of respiratory diseases without asbestosis. That's a year. That's terrible.
Big. And I guess also it disproportionately hits those on lower incomes, because it tends to be guys in demolition, in labouring, who end up, whether it's fibrous asbestos or some other pollutant, actually doing the blue collar stuff that tends to get hit. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I've done a whole lot of people for free, because I just thought, I see some of these guys, they don't know, they don't know what they're doing. And you see guys come in to get a FaceFit test, and their clothes are covered in dust. You think, well, there's no mask. And, I've seen some of these guys with their masks, and they're just covered in dust, just cement dust or sawdust or something. And you think, seriously, man, this is terrible. This is really terrible.
So look, we're excited to see more, and we're going to have some links off of the back of this to Construction and Logistics Academy and to Prisma Logic, and that's really exciting. What I want to bring you on to now is the background to this Inspirational Business Leader Award and who your nomination is, right? So just before you tell us, again, just for a reminder to our audience, running this Inspirational Business Leader Award, we were going to announce the winner at Christmas. Obviously, COVID put that back somewhat. So we're going to run a couple more of these podcasts and hopefully announce that a winner. We should be doing it by Easter, certainly. But that's kind of the update on the program.
Excellent.
So the Inspirational Business Leader, the leader from our industry who has most impressed you over the last year, Vic Shearer, who's your nomination?
Dun, dun, dun. To me, it's Steve Pycroft.
Wow.
And so over the years, I was a bit sort of brazen at times when I approached Steve, but he's been such an inspiration, such an amazing chap. You know, he's been so helpful. He hasn't judged me through this whole situation that I've been in, and he's helped me along. And he was a mentor to me to help me get through this. But, you know, most people don't even have a clue, you know, that he was helping me and mentoring me through this whole difficult time. You know, and he's so generous with his time for me. He's such a busy person, but at times that, you know, you just need to speak to somebody who has been through a hard time. And I know Steve had a really hard time, you know, when his wife passed away, and he still ran that business, and he still did so well through all of that. And he had so much support from everyone else, and he was there for me as well. And I see his business sense. I see the amazing things that he's done with Mace and their business and where they've gone and the things he's achieved. And as a business, they're just exceptional. And he's obviously been that leader there. My hat goes off to him. My greatest thanks goes out to that man. He is an exceptional man.
He's genuinely a captain of our industry.
Absolutely. I think there's many people don't really realize the things that he does in the background to help others. It's amazing.
So your nomination for our Inspirational Business Leader Award is Steve Pycroft, owner and CEO of Mace. Tell us more. Tell us now about who your charity is. Who's your nominated charity?
It would be the West Faversham Community Association. And the reason for that is during my little holiday, they took me in as an association to be able to give me a chance to reconnect with what was going on with the outside world. And, you know, what they do is they help people in the local community, but they also help ex-offenders. And what they do is they help them, you can go and volunteer, you can go and work in there, and they educate people, they help you. I mean, it's amazing, you know, in that time that I spent there, it just gave me so much confidence to be able to go back out into the public, because your perception becomes your reality, and it's the way you see things and the way you feel, you know, in you reconnecting. And these guys were so helpful, so kind. They were not judgmental at all, and they did exceptional things for the community. And I helped out with that, and I was part of that. And I just think they've done an amazing job, and they continue to. And I know that they're expanding as well, which is wonderful.
So this is the West Faversham Community Association. That's near Maidstone in Kent, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Right. Understood. And I'm guessing this is near where you live.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. Yeah. So, you know, they're just such an exceptional charity, and it's, absolutely brilliant.
So we've said, and it's interesting, you've touched on a couple of points here, Vic, that obviously our viewers are going to be really, really interested to hear more about. They're a charity that deals with ex-offenders. You've obviously been contacted or been put in touch with them with your your own personal experience. And I think it's fair to say that up until 4 or 5 years ago, as the leader of Leaner Logistics, you were a trailblazer in our industry, in the logistics field. From memory, you'd come out of MSK, you'd decided to plough your own furrow, and you were thought leading and innovative both in product and service. And then it all went horribly wrong.
Absolutely.
Tell the audience about where it went wrong. You obviously ended up in court for tax evasion, but there's a lot, sorry, say again.
I lost you there for a second, sorry.
There was obviously, you obviously ended up going to prison and serving your time for tax evasion, right?
Yep.
Tell us more about the real story behind it.
Oh, no, goodness me. Yeah, what's really interesting is that the media will tell you what they want to tell you and will sell it as they want to sell it, because it'll sell newspapers, magazines, it sells online time, etc. So yeah, it was unbelievable. Business was going so well. I was really going for it. I was working 17, 18, 20 hours a day, sometimes working through the night, through the day. And I was determined to make a success. And we were doing really well as a business. And so what happened, unfortunately for me, was we were using a payroll company. I won't use names, but we were using a payroll company, and we were told by someone in our industry that we didn't like that company. So I said, okay, well, I'll change. We changed. But when I changed, I thought to myself, who would be the best person? Who would be the best company for me to be able to use in this situation for to do the right thing? So I was introduced to this guy who was an ex-tax inspector for HMRC in Rochester. And so I asked him questions. I visited his offices. I checked up on him, checked his credentials, and then he explained how he did his payroll. I said, that's perfect. We'll give you a go. So we started, and everything went exceptionally well. First 2 years, everything was, our guys, this was amazing. Most payroll companies pay their guys on a Friday. Our guys were getting paid on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and that made a huge difference to them. This guy was so quick, so efficient, everything worked so well. And this is not what my business did. It was something that I needed to have a function of and needed to outsource it. So we had to.
That was to remain competitive in terms of giving subcontractors or individuals who worked for the business the best possible deal they could have in terms of their pay.
Absolutely, right. Absolutely. And so what happened was, this guy, this tax inspector, he was doing things in the background that that I couldn't tell what he's doing. It's his business. I wouldn't, the same as I couldn't tell what you do in your business. Nobody knows. And so what happened was, he suddenly decided he was going to move away to Chile because his wife wanted to get involved in politics, which she was involved there previously. So he said, I'm moving to Chile. Everything in the business here will still run. I've got a business partner here. Everything still runs. I went down to the offices, checked out that everything was still working and everything's good. And everything was good. There was no problems. And all of a sudden, one day we got a call saying, HMRC are outside this company's office. And, what's going on? And
wow.
I don't have a clue. We've got to do our payroll tomorrow. What's going on? And we didn't know. We couldn't get a hold of these guys. Eventually got a hold of the guy, and he didn't know what was going on. He's in Chile. What it worked out was that he knew exactly what was going on, and he'd already run away. So he'd been doing tax evasion, and he ran away to Chile. When he found out, when I called him to say what's going on, he then packed his bags from moving from Chile went to Dubai because the extradition laws in Dubai meant that he couldn't be brought back here.
Wow.
So, as a company now, I've got 300 people I need to pay, and I was terrified. What do I do? How do I pay my guys? So we set up our own business, literally in a day. I got lawyers involved, I got accountants involved, and I set up a business that same day, and I started to pay my own guys. What happened was they, sort of about, 2 or 3 months later, we started to get an investigation done, and HMRC turned up and said, give us all the information you've got on this company. We did it. In the meantime, this guy was in Dubai sitting pretty, and he'd stolen millions of pounds, and
Wow.
and we didn't know anything about it.
And this was
he wasn't answering phones.
Was he falsifying CIS returns?
He wasn't even submitting them. So he didn't even submit his returns. There was this. It took me 5 years to understand what this guy had done. But one of the things that he did was something called hijacking. And he got this, and I'm a bit nervous to say about it online in case somebody else does the same thing. But it's what he did was he said to us, "This is our company name. Here's our company." So we did all the checks on the company. It was all worked out right. But he set up a company from his accounting side of his business. He copied a company's name there, and he added an S onto the end of the name. And as a result, he just set up his business like just with an S on the end. I won't say
so
names.
You validated the original business, then Play's then going to New.Co with the S on the end.
That's right.
That's then not
that actual company.
Yeah.
And what he did was he took the VAT number from the other company and used it on his company.
Oh, wow.
So
this is a practice that can't be done nowadays, isn't it? This is a practice that you can't do.
I don't have a clue. I mean, I hope not. It's, I really hope not. But it's so this is what he did, and then to us everything looked fine. It wasn't anything. Everything was working fine. Our payroll was working super efficient. All our guys were happy. There was no problem. That was just a function as part of the business. But what had happened was, he took all the taxes and he stole the tax and didn't pay it across, and he didn't record it. He would shut down the business. So after a year, he said to me, we've grown so much lately. You've given us, I don't know, at that stage, probably £10 million worth of business. You're in construction. We've got other construction clients. We're going to separate our businesses, and we're going to make one construction and one for the medical industry and one for IT and etc. Yeah. So he started another business, and this is the explanation that I got. I said, okay, well, I don't care. Everything's working well. We're not interested so long as everything's legit. I've done my checks on you. We keep on doing our checks. That's all good. But then he'd set up another company. He just didn't declare anything on the last company. He didn't do anything, and he just stole the taxes. And then he just continued that on new company. So he just did the same thing, copied the name of another company that was within his accounting business. And he did the same thing again. Now, I couldn't understand how this was possible. I mean, how can you steal somebody's VAT number? That's shocking. I mean, who would even think of that? I was just, I would never have comprehended that would happen. Yeah. So much so that, I went to a company and said to a CEO, not CEO, I went to the FD of a large business in our industry and said, do you check the VAT number of every subcontractor that you have? And he said, no, we don't know how to do it. Because at the time you couldn't. But what I subsequently found out was that there was a system, you could check a VAT number through a system in Europe, not here in the UK. You can just go online on a thing called VICE, V-I-E-S, and you could check a VAT number there. But it's only certain people know that. If in your business, you wouldn't even think about that. I mean,
and for our audience, what's that?
It's no longer working because we're out of the European Union, so you can't go there and check it. You can go onto HMRC's website now and check it locally, but that wasn't available. We couldn't do that. Nobody knew to do that because I don't know about you, but I certainly wouldn't have thought about who can you steal somebody's VAT number? It's bizarre. And so, yeah, as a result, they couldn't find him. They got his business partner and one of his employees. And then they came after me. And they came after me because I gave them, say, £18 million worth of business, and I paid them about £2.5 million taxes. I paid £7 million to HMRC directly from my account. And they came after me and they said, well, we think you could have known, you should have known, or you may have known. And they'd given this conspiracy theory. So under the finance law, you can charge somebody with conspiracy. And
I guess their argument is that ignorance is no defense. Was that
absolutely? Absolutely. But, as a business person, you don't think of everything all the time. There is no possibility for you to be able to do that. So they charged me with that. And the first trial that we went to, I kept this quiet because I was confident in my ability. And I had a QC called Alex Cameron, David Cameron's brother. He was absolutely brilliant.
Wow.
And he fought the case. And in the first trial that we went through, 4 weeks into the first trial, everything was going exceptionally well. The first witness in the trial stood up and said, actually, I know this man, and there's no ways that what you're saying is true about this man, and I'll stand up and defend him to the hilt. And that was exceptional. And that actually was...
Steve Pycroft.
No. No. I wish Steve was up there. He'd be throwing stones at them. Oh, no, I don't know if he'd do that, but, so it was, it was horrendous. But in that 4 weeks, then the judge had a heart attack. Just the morning we were coming in, and he had a heart attack in his chambers. They stopped everything. So they said to us, well, everything's got to stop. And 2 weeks later, they called us back in and said, we're going to recommence the trial next year. So that was 2013 going. I had to wait till 2014.
Oof.
And in the meantime, the HMRC had a whole team of people that were working on the case and just trying their best to try and get me. And so we got through to the next year and started the trial. And just as we started the trial, the business partner of the HMRC guy had a heart attack just as we were starting the trial.
2 heart attacks.
2 heart attacks. Like, gosh, this is not meant to happen. This you judges need to listen. So they stopped it. They stopped it straight away and said, no, we're going to delay it for a year. And then they came back the next year, and this other guy said, I can't go through another trial. This business partner said, I'm not going through another trial. And he went guilty. And so that left me in the firing line. I was like, hang on a minute, there's no one here to go on trial except for me now. What's going on? And this third year, I couldn't get Alex as my QC, because they said, we don't care if Alex is available or not. And they just said, whoever you get, we don't care. It's happening on the estate, and you be there, and that's it. And it was just a catalogue of things that just happened. But
so the QC or your brief, who ended up defending you, ultimately you had no relationship with, didn't have the prior knowledge, and you weren't obviously best represented.
Well, I did have an exceptional guy. He was a friend of Alex's, and his name's David Lawler, and he was the guy who did the Rebecca Brooks trial.
Oh wow!
And he did really well for her, but he didn't obviously didn't do as well for me. Oh dear! Maybe we could have swapped places.
So the judgment comes in.
Yeah.
Your world crashes around you.
Oh, do you know what? That moment, I tell you, the first thing when you're arrested, it is shocking. It's like electricity is passing through your body. You're just not expecting this. They raided my office with people like in stab vests and things like that. And I go, what the hell is going on here? This is just mad. But they do that to put fear into you, so that you then trembling with what's going on. and they don't tell you what's going on. They just surround you and then handcuff you and take you away. And the same thing goes, when you're in the court and you suddenly get that moment where the jury comes back in and there's absolute silence, and you just look across at the jury and everybody's looking down. They won't look at you. You just get this feeling that, oh no, that's not good. And the one person stands up and then walks across and says, and they say, how do you find the defendants on this count, on that count, on that count? And that moment of when they say guilty, it's like a bomb has gone off in the room. That sort of thing that you see in the movies where you hear this ringing noise. It's unbelievable. Your whole body goes into shock. It's just incredible. And it's terrifying because your whole world in that one split second, it just collapses. And then you get the same feeling when you get the sentencing, because that's at a different time. So I had a fortunate thing where, they between the conviction and the sentencing, there was a period of 3 months. So I was able to get my affairs in order. And during that time, I got everything in Leaner sorted, and I distributed all the work to the different competitors of mine. And I spoke to all my clients, explained what had gone on, got all my employees' jobs, kept them all working, but then had to shut down the business because I didn't like the way they were going to be treating my staff and that. So they were being very hurtful for me. I didn't have to shut down the business, but the way they'd done it and the things that they continue to do, I had to stop.
You didn't want to be identified with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that. It's just I wanted my employees to be looked after. I really looked after them, and it was sort of an emotional attachment with the employees. I wanted them to be able to carry on employment without me. So it's almost like you got children. You want your children to be looked after in that same way. But yeah, so that was really I was happy about that. Everybody got employed. Then I had a moment to be able to spend time with the family, and then it came up to sentencing, and I've been writing a book on the experience, and that moment again when the judge says, that he describes everything, and then he describes you as a person. And he says that you are this kind of person, even though you have any sort of history of any sort of criminal activity or anything in your life, then he'll describe you as a really wicked person. And it's awful. And he gets this prejudgment of you. But that moment where he says, this is going to be your sentence, everything slows down. It's as if your body's going into shock and everything slows down into slow motion. And then when he takes that hammer, he does this really bizarre thing. He takes a hammer and he doesn't take it by the handle. He takes it by the top of the hammer and he smashes it down. At the end, he says, take them down. And you're standing there, and your family's there. My children weren't there. My wife was there, and the moment there, just the tears just burst out. I had to remain, composed myself, but I looked at my wife in that moment, and the tears, the brokenness of the people in the courtroom. A whole lot of my staff were there to support me, friends and family and everyone. So the courtroom is full of friends and families, employees, etc. But that moment, and then they take you down, and there's this horrible environment, a really, really horrible sort of solid concrete walls and grey, and these like cage-like environments and handcuffs and things. Oh, terrible, terrible experience. Not my favourite, I've got to say.
No, you've had better.
And also, can I just say this?
Yeah.
Prison's not that good. I wouldn't advise it, and it's not true what they say on TripAdvisor.
Yeah. I think from your personal experience and what you've shared today, you've really kind of conveyed that emotion and that terror and the the kind of the negative forces. Being that we're talking about inspiration and the fact that we've had a year as a nation that has been horrific, obviously not as horrific as incarceration. Tell us what you got out of that in terms of positive reaffirmation. For me, I think off the back of that, the books that you've written, the industry benchmark that you've now, or you're about to establish with regards to the CITB and logistics training, I think there's some really incredible positive stories. So shall we talk, maybe finish on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I'm so excited about things now and putting things into perspective. While I was away, I didn't want to sit around and waste time. I wanted to use my time to as much benefit as possible. So, during that time, I did so many things to improve myself. I studied law, prison law, and I helped, I think 700 to 1,000 people while I was there. I won 3 cases against the prison for a deaf person.
Wow.
And I learned sign language and because of his treatment, even though he was in prison, his treatment was just terrible. So I won 3 cases against them. I did an enormous number of things. I did free training for them. So because I was first aid trained, and I just got guys into my cell and I trained people. First aid training, I did traffic marshal training and all sorts of things. But then coming out, I'm still so excited because you get to appreciate so many things that you wouldn't have appreciated before. I can have a bath. I can eat what I want. I can do so many things. And the same goes for life, business, opportunities. It's what we make of it. If everybody has a choice when they wake up every morning, what they can do. And, there's so many amazing things that we could do in our lives that so many people don't do. Live a mundane life from 9 to 5 and doing the same thing. I'm not like that. I don't want to be that person. I wake up at 5. I go to bed at midnight because I'm learning, I'm studying, I'm enjoying it. And there's so many opportunities. So yes, you hear about COVID, but I decided I'm not going to join in. I'm not going to join in that media, that hype. I know I'm respectful of it. I understand it. But, if I take inspiration from a person who said that once, was the guy started Walmart in the middle of the Great Depression.
Yeah.
And the media came to him and said, so Mr. Walmart, I can't remember his name right now. They said to him, what do you think about this Great Depression? And he said, well, I heard about it, but I decided I'm not going to join in. And I feel the same way. There is always opportunity.
Participation in kind of in that level of negativity. Again, and I think that we've got to be clear here in terms of people's tragic stories. We're very respectful of that, but in terms of the general negativity and fear with people, I think you're carrying a really positive message.
Yeah, really. The thing is, there's so many exciting things, and we can use our time however we want. If you have your time and your ability to choose what you're doing taken away, it is a horrible thing. But now, when I look at this and I see those opportunities and I see all those people out there who can have so much more, can do so much more, the opportunities that exist. But you don't see a lot of people. I put something on one of my websites to say, I'm offering free training. I got one person respond. That was unbelievable. I was saying, look, people need help to progress. I'll offer free training for people to progress. And I got one person to respond. This is something that I don't understand. There are so many opportunities, so many companies out there that are helping right now, that there are so many opportunities. It's what we make of it. It's our choice.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm with you, Vic.
I do respect the COVID situation. A friend of mine died on Monday last week from it. And it was terrible. I feel awful for it. But if I had to, say to him, what would you like me to do? Would you like me to just sit around and be somber, or would you like me to really go for it and put the best effort in do the best I can? He would want that, and so that's what I'm doing.
And we take that positive message. Vic. So look, I'm gonna, even though you missed that plug opportunity with something way more holistic, I'm gonna say on a final note, can you just tell us more about the 3 books that you've written? Can you tell us more about the industry or CITB approved training? Tell us more about that. Tell us how that's making a difference.
Yeah, sorry. Thanks. You're a superhero. You are.
Right.
Yeah, I got 3 books. Can I show them to you? So that's book number 1. Oh, I got it upside down. How's that? It's like one of those camera moments. There's book number 1. That's book number 2. Can you see it? Yeah, excellent. Yeah. And book number 3. And so it's all about construction logistics. And I broke it down into 33 modules. There's the first 21 modules are for construction logistics supervisors, and the full 33 are for the construction logistics managers. Yeah. And I cover all aspects, and I've had loads of different people. I've actually got some people in the industry now critiquing it, saying, is there anything I need to change? Is there anything there? So I've submitted it to CITB, and initially they said they're not supporting the construction logistics sector, but I had to approach it from a different angle. So I kept on pushing it, and I keep on pushing it. So I'm waiting for them to be able to approve it. And once they've approved it, I've already become an approved training organization for them. And now I'm just waiting for their teams to be able to recognize it. So I keep on pushing that until I get it. I'm going to keep on going.
Well, we look forward to hearing more. We look forward to hearing about positive success with that accreditation.
Thank you so much.
That is my pleasure. And for now, Vic, I'm going to just reconfirm on behalf of West Faversham Community Association, your inspirational business leader is Mr. Stephen Pycroft.
Yes.
We wish you the best. We wish you the best of luck with it, and thank you for joining us. Thanks, Vic.
Thank you, Tony, for your time. I really appreciate it. Yeah, wonderful man. Really appreciate your time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.